We've fielded a lot of questions over the years here at Calvary. While these may not always be the only answers, they're our answers, and we hope they help you as you continue to grow in your faith.
My Jewish friend says that hell is a New Testament belief. I guess I should have asked him if he believes in heaven. Then why wouldn't he believe in hell? The first thing that came to my mind when I read that was that Jesus was a Jew and considered a rabbi or a teacher. And he spoke of the rich man and Lazarus in Hades, and when he did, everyone in his audience immediately understood what he was talking about. No one raised their hand and said, "What do you mean, Hades? I never heard of this before." And so just the very telling of that story, which isn't a parable, some people call it the parable of the rich man and Lazarus, but in parables, Jesus doesn't give people names. He was talking about a real rich man and a real man named Lazarus, and he spoke of them going to Hades as if everyone in his audience immediately understood what he was talking about. And then you remember in our studies in Matthew, Jesus proves from the Old Testament, from the Psalms, that God is the God of the living, not the God of the dead, because he speaks of being the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to Moses after they had been long dead, and so he believed that they were still alive. So that tells us, why am I telling you that? That tells us there's no such thing as annihilationism once you die. So now we know from Jesus, who was a Jew, and from his audience, that they believed that the soul continued on after death in a place called Hades, at least. So the best we would say is that the wicked dead are left in Hades to suffer. So I know the Jewish friend is trying to say there is no hell, no place of suffering, but there is at least Hades, which is obviously a place of suffering that the New Testament era Jews understood. And then Jesus and the New Testament do describe the resurrection from the dead to the second death. So the fuller teaching on the lake of fire and hell comes from the New Testament, but Jesus and his audience understood there was a place of suffering after death for the wicked dead, and it was Hades.
Do you have a question about the Bible, theology, or church life? If so, we would love to hear it, think about it, and give our perspective on it. You can email us anytime at questions@calvaryhanford.com, and we will get it on the list for the podcast. And if you'd like to check out years worth of all sorts of topics like the ones we cover, visit calvaryhanford.com/questions. Thanks for listening.